Welcome into the DFS Den. It's Dave Eddy here, aka Corporal Eddie on Twitter. Back at it here for another video today. Not a whole bunch of time to get it done, but wanted to get you one with plenty of time for lock tonight. We've got 12 games starting at 7:05, at least on the DK slate. So let's go ahead and hop into pitching. And for me, it's a pretty clear four-pitcher slate here. At least that's what I'm going to be doing. And they're going to be, like usual, at or near the top. One of them is actually a pretty decent value, but as far as my interest level, so number one is going to be Clayton Kershaw. Got a nice matchup here against the White Sox at home, back-to-back 30-plus point games, so very interested there. The other three guys, you can kind of flip a coin between. I do like all three of them pretty much equally. So we got Luis Castillo against the Marlins, Justin Verlander against the Yankees, and Tyler Glasnow against Oakland. The one thing all these have in common is they're all in the top 7 as far as K metrics are concerned on the slate. And K metrics are pretty much what I'm chasing. We've talked about it before, looking at their K percentage and their opponent's K percentage, their swinging strike rate and their opponent's swinging strike rate. And so these guys, like I said, 4 of the top 7, so no coincidence there. And then Verlander's the value here on DraftKings. He comes in at 8,000, but he does have fairly difficult matchup against the Yankees, and he's been basically alternating back and forth here for the last month between 20 points or more or negative numbers. So he is on pace for a 20-point game, but I mean, obviously that's not much of a trend we can rely on. So that's how he makes the list here, even though he's been so volatile lately. And when we are playing pitching, that I'm trying to limit the volatility of pitching, which is where a guy like Castillo and a guy like Kershaw come into play because they've been extraordinarily consistent. Like, Castillo, for example, has had at least 22 points in 4 straight games. So that's more along the lines of what I look for. But, Glasnow, he's more of an injury risk than anything. But, when he's healthy, he's absolutely elite. 5 straight games of 16 or more points. And then, like I said, Verlander can be very hit or miss. For hitters, top 2 stacks I'm looking at here, Boston number 1 by a lot. They're going up against Austin Gomber. They're at home. I really like a Boston stack here for today. The guy that I'm looking at is Rob Refsnyder, who should be leading off here for them here today. I'm imagining not a guy who's got a huge track, good track history here, but he's going to come in pretty cheap, and we'll kind of see what happens here. I mean, if you're playing Boston, obviously you've got to pick somebody, and it's usually a guy 1 through 5 in the order. So the top half, the heart of the order is where we're looking. And he's the guy that just really stands out to me. I mean, Justin Turner would be another guy who would fit that mold as well. He's $1,200 more expensive. So, I mean, obviously when I'm talking about my top stacks and whatever, I'm not super worried about, who the guy that I wouldn't say I'm forcing in is, but the guy that I'm, leaning towards. But if you want to go Justin Turner as well, he's got 4 straight games over 12 points. So he very well could be your guy. I just think that the ownership percentage is going to play a factor here. Not sure how owned Rob Refsnyder will be, but Justin Turner is probably going to be the most popular guy in the slate. So something to think about. Granted, if you're playing Refsnyder, there's a really good chance that Turner slides in there as well. So probably splitting hairs a little bit. Next on the list is going to be Tampa Bay. They're in Oakland, and so that's always a matchup that we like. They're going up against Luis Medina. And I'm looking at Josh Lowe here. Nice righty versus lefty matchup. Again, Josh Lowe hasn't been absolutely tearing the cover off the ball lately, but he's got everything that we're looking for. Is lefty versus righty. Like I said, good matchup. Going to be batting in the heart of the order, somewhere between 1 to 5. More than likely, he'll be batting in the 3 slot today. And then I do want to give you the guys who meet the metrics that I look for. 400 WOBA, 300 or higher ISO over the last 50, 100, and 150 plate appearances. So guys that have been consistently, both short and long term, putting up some good power and on-base numbers. That usually leads to good success. And the guys that meet that criteria today, we got Luke Raley, Gunnar Henderson, Rodolfo Castro, Salvador Perez, and Francisco Alvarez. So we've got 2 catchers on the list, surprisingly enough. Luke Raley is going to be part of that Tampa Bay stack as well. So something to keep in mind when you're building that stack. So those are going to be guys who really aren't too expensive. I mean, the range there is anywhere from 34 to 3,800 for everyone but Perez. Perez comes in at 55, so he's the only guy who's really going to cost you. But that's where I'm looking today. Hopefully this video will help you out. If you think it will, go ahead and drop a like on there for me, and then do yourself the favor of popping over here, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you get an alert every time a new video comes out. I will see you for the next one.